Real Madrid are living through a nightmare stretch, with one blow after another raining down on the Spanish giants. After a humiliating loss at Arsenal's Emirates Stadium, things went from bad to worse. Camavinga saw red, and just last night, Kylian Mbappe was slapped with a suspension that could rule him out of the upcoming El Clasico. Everything seems to be crashing down at once, leaving the Royal Club scrambling for answers. The mood around the team is chaos. Unmistakable signs of a crisis after the crushing defeat in North London. Sure, Madrid have been in tough spots before in the Champions League, but this 0-3 loss to Arsenal felt different. It wasn't just the scoreline, it was the lack of fight, the absence of character. Los Blancos offered next to nothing in response and finished the 90 minutes in a cold, eerie silence. No shouting, no finger-pointing, no visible frustration. Manager Carlo Ancelotti calmly admitted his side were flat, while the players simply muttered that things hadn't gone to plan. The fierce, never-say-die Real Madrid of old? Nowhere to be found. What we saw was a team quietly accepting defeat, an unfamiliar and unsettling image. That loss marked a turning point, both tactically and mentally. From the first whistle, Madrid looked off, sloppy in possession, inaccurate passing, and not a single meaningful shot in the first half. After Declan Rice's stunning opener, the visitors had no answer. Just 45 more minutes of passive, disjointed football. Even club legend Toni Kroos was taken aback. In a post-match analysis, he remarked, "Looking at their body language, it felt like the players just didn't want to concede more. That's never been the case before." Ancelotti didn't sugarcoat things either. He said the team collapsed, especially in the second half, where they completely lost control. He described the squad as suffering a mental breakdown. Jude Bellingham was just as blunt. "We were lucky it was only 3. The Emirates disaster may have been the final straw in a downward spiral. Just a week ago, Real were eyeing a possible treble. Now they've conceded 11 goals in their last 3 matches. It started with a wild 4-4 draw against Real Sociedad in the Copa del Rey, where they had to come from 3-4 behind, followed by a 1-2 defeat to Valencia in La Liga, and now a full-on collapse against Arsenal. 3 winless games are just the tip of the iceberg. Since the start of the year, Madrid have dropped 13 points in La Liga, suffered 5 losses in the Champions League, 5 more in domestic competition, and were handed a bitter defeat by Barcelona in the Supercopa 2 years ago. Ancelotti summed it up with a painful truth. "It feels like we don't want to play football anymore." A simple line, but one that cuts deep. His team looks disconnected, uninspired, and lacking the will to fight. Missing not just flair but personality, Real ran 12 kilometers less than Arsenal. Their most active player, Federico Valverde, ranks behind 14 others in the Champions League this season in total distance covered. For once, it's undeniable. Real Madrid don't look like Real Madrid. This is no longer the team known for its fierce reaction to going behind. What we're seeing now is a side that's tired, physically and emotionally. And just days after their bruising loss at the Emirates, Madrid were back in action, traveling to face Alaves in La Liga. The result? A narrow 1-0 win thanks to a brilliant strike from Camavinga. But the performance left fans anything but reassured. Mbappe was sent off after a dangerous challenge on Antonio Blanco, forcing Real to play the entire second half a man down. Fortunately for them, the referee's report won't rule him out of the Copa del Rey final against Barcelona at the end of the month. Despite the short turnaround after the Arsenal game, Jude Bellingham was brought on in the second half to stabilize the match. He had a golden opportunity to seal the win late on but failed to convert. Had he scored, Madrid might not have had to dig in and defend so desperately until the final whistle. Looking ahead, Camavinga is suspended for the second leg. Ferland Mendy and Dani Ceballos are just returning from injury and may not be match fit. Vinicius and Rodrigo, meanwhile, are showing clear signs of burnout, their recent form falling short of expectations. Perhaps most frustrating for Madrid was their denied request to move the Alaves fixture up by a day to better prepare for the return leg against Arsenal. The league said no, citing broadcast schedules and commitments to fans. That leaves Real with less than 72 hours to recover and prepare for one of the biggest matches of their season. From an injury-hit squad and dipping form to a brutal fixture schedule, everything seems to be working against Real Madrid right now. At a time when they need stability and optimism, the team finds itself wrestling with a mountain of obstacles. The pressure isn't just bearing down on the players, it's squarely on the shoulders of head coach Carlo Ancelotti. After a roller coaster season, his position has never felt more fragile. If Real finish the season empty-handed, the threat of dismissal looms large. While they're still chasing Barcelona in La Liga, a Champions League collapse could prove to be the final blow. This time, Real Madrid feel like they're fighting alone, and for once, they're not in control. Rarely in their Champions League history have they gone into a match with this much tension. After the crushing 0-3 defeat in the first leg, it's not just the players who are on edge. The entire upper management, the fans, and the media are zeroing in on the return leg. It's a reflection not only of their desire to pull off a comeback, but also of the deep respect Real now have for their opponent, Arsenal. Club president Florentino Perez, usually quiet and only present at Valdebebas on Fridays for his routine meetings with Ancelotti, made an uncharacteristic move this past week. In addition to his usual sit-down with the coach, he personally stepped into the first-team common area, something he almost never does. At the same time, the club has been working on a special video to fire up the squad before the do-or-die clash. This video is no ordinary motivational piece. Carefully crafted, it's set to be shown to the entire team right before they depart Ciudad Deportiva for the Santiago Bernabeu. It will be steeped in the club's legendary spirit, fighting to the last breath, never giving up, echoing those unforgettable comeback nights that have become part of Real Madrid's DNA. The goal? To stir collective emotion, to reignite the hunger to turn the tie around, something that fans have begun to feel more strongly with each passing day. Outside the stadium, supporters groups are preparing an unprecedented welcome. Thousands are expected to line the streets, waving flags, lighting flares, and creating a fever-pitch atmosphere long before kickoff. Inside the stadium, the Bernabeu's roof will be closed to enhance the acoustics, turning the venue into a true cauldron of pressure, where every touch, every moment will carry weight. This full-scale mobilization, from the boardroom to the bench, from the media team to the fans, is more than just a show of determination. It's Real Madrid's way of acknowledging the magnitude of this challenge. And more than that, it's a sign of the respect they're giving Arsenal, a young, disciplined, and steadily maturing side. That shift in attitude is perhaps the most telling. For Real, such careful preparation is rare, not because they're afraid, but because they know this isn't just another game. They recognize that across from them stands a team capable of demanding their full attention. According to Real Madrid's internal data, their chances of making the semi-finals now stand at just 4%, reaching the final, 2.2%, lifting the trophy, a mere 1.1%. Those numbers speak volumes. They're in a tough spot, but at the Bernabeu, math doesn't tell the whole story. That 1.1% might seem small, but here, it's more than enough to spark hope. Hope born from those magical nights against PSG, Chelsea, and Manchester City. Back then, no one believed they could come back, but they did, not because they had more chances, but because they only needed one. Whatever the result of the second leg, the way Real Madrid have prepared, from their seriousness to their respect for the opponent, already says everything about their identity and their championship mentality. And that's why even with just 1% left, no one is ready to count Real Madrid out.